Hello, and welcome to the Unlocking Freedom podcast. Happy New Year! I'm your host, Nadia, and I'm so glad that you're joining us this evening. I want to give a special shout out and a thank you to all last season's guests. It was a pleasure speaking with each and every one of you. If you would like to be a guest on the upcoming shows or any future shows, or if you have an inspirational story, or you're a minister, or you're a part of a faith based organization, you may contact us at 1849.live. There is something that you can fill out a contact card on there, and you can fill out the information, give us a little bit about your story, your inspirational story, and we'd love to have you as a guest on the show. Today, we have a very special guest on our show. We have Tiffany Jordan. She is a content creator. She loves fitness. Tiffany is an Alabama native who found her passion for fitness after weight loss in 2018. Her dedication comes from knowing how exercise positively impacts the body and mind. She is also a writer and loves to create content. Tiffany, can you take a moment to introduce yourselves to the audience and tell us a little bit more about yourself? And thank you so much for being on the show today. I'm so excited.
Well, thank you for having me, Nadia. I appreciate you for having me on here to talk about fitness.
Of course.
My name is Tiffany Jordan. Um, I love fitness. I love to work out, and like Miss Nadia said, my passion came because I had health issues and such things like that, and I wanted something better, to do something better, and to it's a great way, to release steam. And so I love fitness because it's a thing that makes you think too, also.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I've heard that fitness is definitely like good for your mental health. So you would
Yes.
say your love for fitness, it began with health issues. I guess, can you give us a little bit more information? Like, was it health issues? Like, what exactly, drove you to that point where you're like, okay, enough is enough. Like, I have to make changes.
Um, I started in high school with
Mm-hmm.
me trying to fit into clothes. Like I said, I like my jeans, I like my clothes. Um, I lost weight at 17 by myself.
Okay.
And then I regained it again, and my weight fluctuates up and
Okay.
down.
Okay.
So I lose weight real fast, and then I gain it back
Mm-hmm.
real slow.
Okay.
And so my passion came from knowing that I gain fast, slow, and I lose
Mm-hmm.
fast. But I
Okay.
like to wear clothes. Yeah.
Right, right. Because we have to look cute, right? When we're in our
Hmm.
jeans and when we're in
Yes.
our tops and stuff, we have to
Yes.
look cute. So I definitely
Yes.
understand, girl. Definitely,
Hmm.
hands down. I want to give a shout out to John and everybody that's on tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in so
Hello,
much. We have
everyone.
Tiffany on here. She's talking to us about fitness and her journey and things like that. So we're excited to have her on tonight. So what are some ways, now, we're in 2024, we're like the second week in.
Yeah.
What are some ways
Hmm.
that people can stay fit during this new year? It's 2024. This is going to be a great year. So what are some ways
Hmm.
that, we can get people pumped up? Like, how can we get people, how can they stay fit? If they're wanting to know how they can stay fit during this new year, what would you tell them?
Okay. Well, do what you like. If you
Okay.
like dancing, if you like to go walking, um, some people like to walk 2.5 miles every other day.
Right. Right.
Find something that you like to do and do it.
Right.
That's where
That
it
makes
starts.
sense. Right. And
Yeah.
that makes sense though, because it's like, for instance, somebody that maybe if they like, a particular workout, let's say they like the treadmill or something at the gym, it seems they would be more, apt to doing it, right? Because it's like, oh, I really love the treadmill,
Yeah.
versus if it's like, lifting weights, maybe lifting weights is not something that they're so
Mhm.
passionate about. So that would make sense though.
Yeah.
Like, if you're really passionate about walking, walking in the neighborhood, that would make
Mhm.
sense, because it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like a burden, right?
Mm, mm. No, like I love to lift weights and I love cardio
Uh-huh.
and I like to run. Everybody don't like that. So
Right.
you might like to go to a Zumba class, um,
Right.
karate. You find something
That
that you
makes
like
sense.
to do.
Right, that makes sense. And so do you think so do you normally work out an hour at a time, or is it
Hmm
30 minutes? Like, what is your kind of go-to?
I work out an hour at a time. It might be 30, 45 minutes if I'm at
Okay.
home or something like that.
Mhm.
Um, but it's probably an hour. When I go to the gym, hour and 30 minutes, that's it.
Okay. And do you have like a routine, like maybe you start with cardio first and then you
Mhm.
move on to weights, or what it like when you first walk into that gym, Tiffany, what are you hitting first? What are you going to hit up first?
Okay, every other day, cardio,
Okay.
weights.
Okay.
4 days out the week, cardio weights, cardio weights.
Okay. Okay. And
Hmm
do you have like a particular like favorite machine that you like the most?
Recently, I started getting on one of the ellipticals.
Okay. Okay.
And it likes move your thighs and hips and stuff like that. That's what I
Yes.
like cardio wise. Um, some cardio wise is push ups. A lot of people can't do men push ups. You can do women push ups
Right.
if you want to. I
Right.
just learned how to do male push ups.
Okay.
Um, so I can do like 80
Wow.
to 100 push ups,
Uh-huh. Of like the
like an
regular
hour.
push-ups?
Yeah.
Wow. Tiffany, so did you have to like work your way up to that,
Uh
or
huh.
you just
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Um, 100 push ups, 100 jumping jacks,
That's good.
100 squats. Now that's a cardio workout, and then
Okay.
like that, and then I like the leg press for weights because it works the
Yes.
thighs and the glutes and that right there.
Right. So I go to the gym as well sometimes. I've
Hmm
been, trying to get in
Yeah.
a little
Yeah.
more regularly. I like the stair climber. So I'll be on
Mm.
that thing. It hurts. It's like feel the burn and
hmm
it hurts, but I like
hmm
that stair climber
Yeah,
or
that's
the
their time. It's the
stairmaster.
truth. It's the truth.
Yes. Yes. Okay, it'll tell you about yourself, okay? But that stair climber is like the business. Like, my
Yes.
goodness, but I love it. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's good. So you have a routine like when you go in. Now, do you also have like I've heard people like especially people that are very avid like with working out, they have like leg day, arm
hmm
day. Like do you
hmm
have like something, can you kind of explain a little bit like
Okay. Um, like I just stated, like okay, so a cardio day would be. I'm trying to inch up to doing 200 push-ups,
okay.
200, 200 squats,
Okay.
200 jumping jacks.
Okay.
Um, but I wanted to incorporate some type of cardio with it, some other
Right.
cardio. So I get on the elliptical or the stair climber.
Okay.
Then I go do 80 push-ups or however I want and 80 abs.
Mhm.
That's a routine.
Wow.
Or then you can do jumping jacks and squats,
Right.
and that's a routine.
Wow.
Um, because your legs gonna be burning after you do 80 squats.
Right. I mean, definitely like I know like I feel like that's a lot though like to do, you know what I mean? And do you like take breaks, or can you do like 80 straight?
No, I don't do 80 straight. I take like water breaks, and then
Okay.
you do circuit. So you can do
Okay.
20, 20, 20, 20 jumping jacks, 20 squats, and you can go back and forth
Okay.
as long as you keep the number that you're doing.
That you're doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Well, my hat goes off to you, Tiffany, because that is a lot. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So what does exercise do for the mind? Because I know, we kind of briefly
Yeah.
touched on it. For you, what does the exercise do for your mind?
Exercise is like an antidepressant.
Okay.
So if you exercise 3 times a week, it cuts out half of depression.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Um, this lady told me this at Orange Theory
Uh huh.
because that's all you can think about.
Is the workout?
It's the workout. You in Zumba class, you can't think about nothing else. You're doing something. It clears your mind because it helps you with anger. It
Yeah.
helps with stress.
Yeah.
It's an antidepressant. It's a happy zone.
Right. Okay.
Hmm.
I've heard that because doesn't your body maybe release some
Yes.
type of chemical
Hmm.
components or compounds like when you're working out? I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
I mean, for those
The
scientific or
endorphins. The
yeah,
endorphins.
endorphins. I think it's like, I don't know if it's serotonin or dopamine
Yeah.
or something. I mean, I'm not like a
Yeah.
psychology major or study the brain or whatever, but I've heard that like your body releases like certain chemicals
Hmm.
when you are working out and things like that.
You handle more problems better, even if they come because you don't work out, and it does help with that serotonin level. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay, so you guys hear that? So make sure you work out because it definitely like boosts out like or
Yeah.
boosts, like energy levels and
It
it's
boosts
just
self-esteem.
self-esteem. It makes you feel good. So it's like
Hmm.
you feel good after working out. It's like you feel like you accomplished something?
Hmm.
So that's good. What advice, Tiffany, would you give to someone that is discouraged? That maybe they're feeling discouraged because they have not um, met their ideal weight goals yet. What advice would you give to them?
Keep going. You're not gonna see the change in day one,
Yeah,
day two. You're gonna see it maybe in a week or two. You lose water weight before you get muscle mass and lose weight anyway. So you're not gonna see that. You're gonna see the change, but keep going. It's not a diet pill.
right. Yeah, that's true. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day. You know what I mean? So I mean, that would definitely make sense. Um, if you're trying to get, maybe lose 100 pounds or something like that, that would make sense. Like overnight, it's not going to happen
Not ever.
per se. But if you keep sticking with it, if you keep, pushing and if you keep pushing and working at it, you'll definitely reach those target goals. So that definitely makes sense. Um, so again, I want to shout out to everybody. Like, share, subscribe
Yeah.
to this podcast, and also share it. Share this episode. Grab a friend, get somebody, call your neighbor, call your friend, call whoever, and share this episode. We're talking with Tiffany and she's telling us tidbits and things about fitness. So definitely share this on your page, everybody. Tiffany, share it on your page also, so that
Yeah.
way we could reach more people and encourage more people, because ultimately that's what we want to do here on the Unlocking
Hmm.
Freedom podcast. We want to encourage people and things of that nature. What are some simple exercises
Hmm.
that someone can do if they have a sit down job? Maybe they sit down all day. What are some simple exercises that somebody could do?
Okay. Let's see if you're in a cubicle. Oh,
Right, if
okay.
you're in a
So
cubicle.
if you're in a cubicle and you only have a small amount of space, move the chair out the way. And while you're talking to people, do you some if you're on the phone with somebody, do squats. As long as you're on that conversation with that person, do some squats. Then when you get off, stop. And then the next conversation for 15 minutes, then do some more and stop.
So if someone's not necessarily in a cubicle, is there something else that you could recommend?
Hmm.
Because like, if like some places
If you,
like, some companies it's like open space. So if someone's like
oh
squatting
yeah, yeah,
down and they're
never,
like,
never there.
what is Sheila doing at her desk?
Um, if you have an office where it's open when it's lunchtime, if you got an hour and you
Okay.
take 30 minutes, go
Okay.
walking. Bring your tennis shoes with you every day
Okay.
and just walk around the building 2 or 3 times
Okay.
and get you some air. And then if someone has an office and it's closed in,
Right.
they can do push-ups on the wall.
Okay.
They can walk up and down their office space,
Okay.
and then you can do squats. If some people can't do squats fully because of their knees, so you can do half a squat
Right. Right. Right.
and do that if you have a closed-in office.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that would make sense
Yeah.
because I was gonna say, there are some places where it's just open,
Hmm.
and people might be like, "Okay,
Hmm.
security. I don't know what this girl or this guy is doing," but you don't want to get escorted out. Okay. So, for all those watching, if you have a open, desk or something like that, do something safe, in
Yes.
your seat, or walk. Maybe take a trip or walk around the building, like Tiffany mentioned, because you don't want to get escorted
Mm.
out. So don't say here at 1849
Yeah.
we told
Please
you to
don't.
squat, because we did not tell you to do
No,
that.
we
Okay,
didn't.
we did not say that. We said if you have an open desk, an open area, maybe
In the
walk
office by
around.
yourself.
Yes, if you're in the office by yourself or in a closed cubicle or something, maybe you can do things like push-ups or squats. But if you are in an
Yes.
open area, I repeat, do not do squats. Okay, we were not responsible here if you get
No.
escorted out the building. Okay,
No. Not.
we are not responsible for that. So,
Always
um,
have tennis shoes with you
yes,
and socks with you. And
yes,
then if you can't you go to the gym after work. Have a gym bag in your car.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that would make sense. Tiffany, do you have any parting words or anything in words of encouragement that you would like to leave with the people? Also,
Yeah.
tell us where can we find you, on social media? I know you're very active. You're a content creator.
Yes, I am.
So where can we find you?
Um, I'm on Facebook, Tiffany Delois Jordan,
Okay.
and I have a TikTok page. I'll have to send
Okay.
it to you later.
Okay.
Um, and that's the ones I have. I have some other ones, but them the main two.
Okay. What's your name on TikTok?
Miss Writer, established at 1975.
Okay. And do you post workout videos? I know you have a podcast also on Facebook, but do you ever post any type of workout content?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So that
I,
way, the people can know
yes,
where, we can find you,
yes,
you know?
yes. Yeah, Facebook, Tiffany Delois Jordan, and my parting words is that this is not easy. So when you're looking at people that made the fitness goal from 300 pounds, 175, these people did it.
Yeah.
So don't look at it like they went under the knife or did this or did that.
Right.
That's your personal business if you want to. But when you see people that be at that gym,
Hmm.
that's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's no, they do it, 3 days out the week. You see the people on the treadmill or whatever they're doing. They're there
Right.
because they want to be. And they
Right.
might not want to be. You might not like it all the time. You're not going to want to work out every day. But once
Right.
you get used to it and you need it, this is a lifestyle.
Yeah. And I know when we had our conversation yesterday, you said something that was very profound. You said you had a vision. So you
Hmm.
had a vision in mind. Can you, before, can you also talk about that too? How important it is to have a vision in mind?
Yeah. Um, I had lost a significant amount of weight and I gained 300 pounds. Well, I could say 270, 280.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I saw myself smile again.
Yeah.
and I saw what I would look like. So the goal was to get back to what that was. Even in fitness makes you look at yourself when you don't like your own body.
Right. That's
So
true.
you got to look at yourself in the mirror. I work out in front of a mirror
Mm-hmm.
because I have to see myself. So until you see the imperfections
Yeah.
of what your body looked like, you gotta work it out. I was 300. I was almost 300 pounds.
Wow. Well,
So
I
I
mean,
had to see it.
right, right. And I feel like that's important, definitely to have that vision in mind so that way you know where you're going, like have
Hmm.
that mental picture, like if you can visualize it, you can achieve it, you
Hmm.
know. And so in this case as well, you lost a significant amount of weight. You had a vision in mind, you had goals and you ran after it. So I salute you. My hat goes off to you because
Thank
you
you.
did your thing, girl. You did your thing.
Thank you.
Yes. So thank you again, Tiffany,
Thank
for
you for
coming
having
on
me.
this podcast. You are so welcome. Thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And, you all that are listening, go follow Tiffany. It's Tiffany Delois Jordan.
Jordan.
Jordan. So go follow Tiffany. Go look at her workout videos. Listen to her podcast. She does have a podcast as
Yeah,
well. Tiffany's doing her thing on there. Tiffany, share the podcast as well, the 1849 podcast. So, other
I will.
people can hear, your encouragement and you can encourage your followers as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, thank you, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You are welcome. And I hope you have a blessed day. We're going to be transitioning into
Okay.
another segment. Um, so we have more to come. Thank you so much, Tiffany, again for coming on this show. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Appreciate you.
Um, yes, thank you so much. All right. So we are doing something new here at 1849 at the Unlocking Freedom podcast. So we're going to go into another segment. We're going to be talking about trending topics. So we do have Jonah Nanette, which you all know. She's usually in the background. She's my producer. So we're doing something new again at 1849. Jonah, can you take a moment? I know most people, they see you, doing the moderation. They see your name pop up, asking questions, doing, the different, running the behind the scenes. Because ultimately, we need people in front and behind. And so most people don't see Jonah, but she's usually the one that is working the behind the scenes. So can you take a moment to tell our audience who you are? Tell us, who is Jonah Nanette?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear
Okay.
you loud and clear.
Okay. I'm nervous.
Woo!
I don't know why I have not done this in a long time. Hey guys, my name is Jonah Nanette, and I'm the producer of 1849 Live. Well, I help produce 1849 Live. I'm just happy and excited to be here, and I just can't wait to just see what this segment will bring because there's so many things I want to say, but I'm a follow my host lead. So take it away, Nadia.
Okay, so we're doing something new. We're doing trending topics. So with the trending topics, there's a lot that's been going on. As most people know, um, we're not going to be talking about Cat Williams. He did break the internet, though. Like we do know that. We're going to keep it classy. We're going to keep it holy. So let's talk about something that's been, trending and things like that has been there's a well-known pastor that was playing secular music in the church. And I know, everyone has their own opinions and thoughts about secular music in the church. But that's something that's been going around. I don't know if you heard that, Jonah. I don't know if you've seen it
Yeah,
or have
yes,
you. So
yes, I've heard
what?
it.
Yeah. So what is your take on that? Jonah's take. What is Jonah's take on secular music in the church?
I don't know if this is a popular opinion or an unpopular opinion, but I'm just going
Okay.
to tell you mine.
Okay.
First of all, I need to put some kind of disclaimers on this.
Okay.
I first saw William Murphy when I was traveling with the tribe of Judah. And when I went to one of his concerts, that was the first time I saw the tangible presence of God. It was so thick in that atmosphere that it was like smoke was everywhere. You couldn't even see in front of, like, you couldn't see the person in front of you.
Right. Okay.
And the glory of God, like people were had fallen out. The glory of God was just thick in that place. So I know for a fact, and just the people that I've known who has attended that church, I know for a fact that he is a man of God. However, sometimes we make bad decisions. And I feel like we have to be careful because the standard is never culture. The
Right.
standard is always holiness.
Yes.
And I feel like if we could remember that, the church is a replica of the temple of the Lord.
Right.
It has the outer courts, the inner courts, and the Holy of Holies. That altar, we call it a pulpit or however we want to say it,
Mm-hmm.
that represents the holiness of God or where the
Right.
glory is supposed to dwell.
Right.
You cannot play music. Now, I'm not going to lie. If it was lyrics only, I'm sorry, instrumental only, no lyrics, I may have a different opinion. But because
Okay.
of the lyrics that were being played over the pulpit, along with the spirit of the music that was being played over the pulpit,
Mm-hmm.
I have to say we have to be careful. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just going to say we have
Right.
to be careful not to defame or profane the glory of God because we want to appeal
Right.
to the world because
Right.
he said in an interview that so many people got saved. But my question is,
Mm-hmm.
saved from what? You never
Right.
know what spirit was at that altar. Did those people leave with spirits that they did not come there with? And we have
Right.
to be very careful if we call ourselves people of God because the
Right.
standard is always holiness. It's
Right.
not the thing that is going on your the church's website, the tenants, the pillars. No,
Mm-hmm.
the theme is holiness. Holiness is always right.
Right. And I like that you said that because, you know, we are the church. Like the church
Mhm.
is not the four walls, you know. At one point, I thought that, okay, that's the church, but, we are the church and there has to be a standard and it can't be there has to be a line in the sand. There has to be a defined line, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Again, these are my thoughts, my opinions, my truth. And I feel like you have to separate yourself from being like the world, or you have to make a decision. Am I going to be like culture and do what the culture
Mhm.
does, or am I going to try to be like Jesus and
Mhm.
try to be a Christ follower? Now, granted,
Mhm.
we're not perfect.
Mhm.
You could be in church every Sunday, but we still
Mhm.
have to um we have to go to God for forgiveness and truly
Mhm.
repent when
Mhm.
we do miss the mark. Truly,
Mhm.
truly repent and ask God to help us, or have God send an accountability partner or something if there's a particular struggle.
Mhm.
Um, but I feel like what you said was so, so, so profound because we do need to strive for holiness. And I think that when I think about the church, and when I think about pastors
Mhm.
and things like that, I
Mhm.
feel like when we're going into God's presence, there's got to be a change. If Jesus was here in the physical flesh, would we be listening to foul music? Would foul
Mhm.
language be coming out of our mouth?
Mhm.
And so I think about things like that. And like I said, nobody's perfect. God knows that, we miss the mark. That's why he died. That's why there's grace and things like that.
Mhm.
But there has to be a standard and we have to strive for holiness. Like holiness is the standard.
That's
And
it.
we have to strive to be holy. And I feel like there should always be change, like when we're um I mean, let's just be honest. When we get to heaven, there's not going to be swag surfing in the heaven. They're not going to be playing that. They're
Mhm.
not going to be playing, a lot of these. They're not going to be playing this music. Like let's just
Mhm.
be honest. And so, yeah, I mean, I really don't have much, too much to say because I feel like you summed it up, like by saying holiness is the answer. You
Mhm.
know? And
We
so again,
forget, I'm sorry.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we forget that the Bible says without holiness, no man will see God. And I
Right.
feel like we have become so accustomed to wanting to reach the world
Yeah.
that we are forgetting about the person we're reaching the world for.
Right.
He's the holy God. He's a God who so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believe in him shall not perish but have everlasting life.
Right.
You, I'm not saying not to have fun. I'm not even saying don't do blah blah. But everybody's relationship with Christ is different.
Right.
Some people, like we were talking earlier, in some cultures, drinking coffee is sin or
Right.
it's morally wrong. It's a taboo.
Right.
It's against the societal norms. And in this country, coffee, we have a Starbucks on every corner. In this
Right.
country,
Say
though,
that.
if you are a Christian and we see you with a cigar or a cigarette or a drink, we look at you like, mm. So I feel like we have to be careful that we don't label certain things as sin when it's really just societal, cultural norms. But
Mm-hmm.
we also have to be careful that we're not missing the mark, which is what sin means. Sin
Yeah.
is missing the mark. Iniquity are those inner things that are inside of you that you have to
Right.
work out so that it won't separate you from the love of Christ. And then
Right.
transgressions are those things that are lawful, the laws that God has given us, and that you purposefully transgress against those. And so I feel like we have to understand what sin really is. It's only missing the mark. It is not iniquity. It can grow into iniquity because weakness, if you continue to do it, will become wickedness. And
Mm-hmm.
transgressions just means, breaking the law. So sometimes you can sin or miss the mark, not necessarily break the law. Like what's a good example of that? Maybe when you're going down the street and you're supposed to stop at a light
Right.
and you don't stop, you're breaking the law. But you're not going to end up on the news because you ran a stop sign or ran a stoplight,
Right.
because
Right.
everyone does that speeding. I have literally been driving in New Orleans and the police officers looked at me like, are you really going that slow? Like they're zooming by me and I'm trying to keep up. I'm like, this speed limit's like 75, 80. They're like, what, 90? So I feel like some things are missing the mark, but they're not transgressions and they're definitely not iniquity. But I do feel like we have to be careful, because if God is saying, look, I want to deliver this person from secular music, because the first TikTok I saw was somebody said they had a choice between going to the club and going to church, and they chose church and they were
Right.
disappointed.
Right.
So we have to be careful that when people come into the church, we understand they want salvation.
Yep.
They want God.
Yes.
They want it to be different. There needs to be a separation. That's what
Yeah.
sanctification comes in at. And so I feel like we have to understand that it's our job to consecrate the holiness of God, to consecrate his temple, to consecrate his church, to consecrate ourselves as his people, because
Right.
we don't want to miss the mark.
Right. Yeah, ultimately. And, we can't be like the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, I want to give a shout out to my Aunt Angie. She said we have to ask ourselves, does it glorify the flesh or does it glorify God? And that's a good point. If whatever I'm getting ready to do, am I going to be glorifying my flesh or am I going to be glorifying God? Am I going to be bringing people, even like with conversations, certain
Mhm.
conversations, are these conversations that I'm having with my friends or loved ones, is it bringing people closer to God or is it, pulling people away from God?
Mhm.
And I heard that same story too. Someone they had a choice between going out that night, going to the club, or going to church. And they were very disappointed when they had gotten to the church. And so I feel like we as the church, we have to show people that there's a different way and we can't be like the world, and I feel like we're in a time now sometimes where it's like it's a gray area. It's like, okay,
Mhm.
is this okay or is it not okay? You know what I mean? It's almost like there's like a, I don't know, like a fine, like it's like a little bit gray. You know what I mean? It's a little
Mhm.
bit distorted, and sometimes it can be confusing, even for people that have been, safe for a length amount of time. Sometimes it could still seem like there is, a gray area. It's kind of hard to decipher. But I do think too, when we spend more time with God, God will take away things and we won't have a desire for things of the world
Mhm.
anymore. The more we spend time with them, or the more we spend time with God, we won't have a desire to do things because it grieves um, the Holy Spirit, you know. And I'm sure, like we, you know, some people have had um, times where they, you know, were, you know, maybe they were hearing from God. Or even now, maybe you're hearing from God, but it's just like in your spirit, it just doesn't feel right to do a particular thing, you
Mhm.
know. And it's like, okay, that could be God speaking to you, telling you, hey, don't go down that path, don't listen to
Mhm.
that music, don't go there, you know, things like that. So, but yeah, you brought the house down with that, Jonah.
Okay.
Seriously. So thank you for, you know, thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Did you have any last minute comments that you wanted to talk about regarding that trending topic? Does anybody have any comments or anything? Did anybody hear that story of that particular pastor? Um, let's see. My aunt said the Bible says we are in the world, but not of the world.
Mhm.
And that's true. We are in this world, but we don't take on the world's customs. We don't do
Mhm.
what the world is doing. You know, Jonah again,
Mhm.
she's like, holiness is the standard. You know, we've got to be holy, you know. And of course, you know, when you're holy, it's not like, oh, you're righteous or you're better, because that's self-righteousness. That's a whole nother thing. So no,
Mhm.
you're not, you know, acting like you're better than anybody else, your nose stuck up in the air. Not at all, you know. But we've got to be holy, we've got to be set apart, and we've got to, you know, if we want to win more souls for the Lord, there's just certain things that we can't do. I mean, there were times, you know, early on, I mean, and even now, I've told people, I'm sorry, I cannot go to the club with you, you know,
Mhm.
because I'm like, I don't want to be in the club. What if the rapture happens? I mean, it's not funny, but you know, like, if you know, I don't want to be doing those things, whatever. I don't want to be
Mhm.
like associated like um, with certain things. But that was my conviction. You know, I
Mhm.
felt like for me personally, I didn't need to be in the club. You
Mhm.
know, so but yeah, we are going. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just reminded while you were talking that I saw a post with some young people the other day, and it
Mhm.
was like, I know this may sound lame, but I want to go to a gospel concert. And it was like, it went viral because so many young people were like, yeah, me too. I want to go to a gospel concert. So I
Wow.
feel like there is a desire for
Yes.
God in this season. Like
Yeah.
for a few seasons now, people have tried to what they call it, deconstruct Christianity and all this kind of stuff. And I was one of them. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's not. We need to have a podcast just about that.
Okay.
However, me and the Lord had to come to Jesus meeting, and I
Good.
decided as for me and my house, I'm going to serve the Lord. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to make sense. That's where faith steps in it. And
Yeah.
so I feel like these young people, or just the world in general, they are looking for something. We are
Yes,
the
they are.
answer, but we can't be the answer if we look just like everything else they're entertaining. So,
Yeah. If we're doing the things that they're, you know, like you said, doing the things like the world, it's gonna
mhm,
be like, why do I want to be a Christian? You know what I mean? If you're doing the same thing that I'm doing, if you're getting high every night, again,
mhm,
I'm not trying to point anything out, but I mean, if people are getting high every night and, you
mhm,
know, and you're getting high with your friends and all of that, and it's like,
mhm,
why do I want to be a Christian if we're all getting high together, you know? I
mhm,
mean, how so we've got to be set apart, you know, we got to be
mhm,
consecrated, we got to be set apart and stop doing things just like the world.
mhm,
So yeah. So we're gonna, you know, like I said, we're kind of transitioning and, you know, we're trying out new things.
mhm,
So that was our trending topic segment. Jonah's still gonna continue on. We have another segment, our final segment, that we're gonna be talking about. Um, let's see. Let's see. We have another one. It says, "That is so true, Jonah. Our young people are hungry for something different. We know that what they are hungry for is God."
mhm,
And that's very true. They are. I mean, even, you know, with celebrities and things like that, we see celebrities giving their life to Christ or hearing stories about them getting baptized because they want another way, you know. They want something real, something tangible, something that's, you know, God is always there. I mean, I don't care, you know,
mhm.
your family members may not be there. Like, God is always there. We can call him. There's no like, oh, please hold, please wait, you know, for the next available representative. Nope.
Right,
Like, I need to call God right now. So I'm going to go talk to him right now. You
right.
know, God's always available for us to talk to. You know, there's no hold
Mhm,
time, there's no wait time. None of that. He's always available. So yeah.
Mhm.
So we're going to segue and we're going into our next segment. I want to call this segment Unlocking Love. So on this segment, at 1849, we're going to, on this particular segment, we're going to be talking about love and relationships. So I have Jonah on. So we're going to talk a little bit and we want to provide encouragement, for those maybe that are believing God for a spouse, or even those maybe that are already married. Maybe you can glean from this information, or even provide those that are single with something encouraging in the comments, things like
Mhm.
that. um, so Jonah, are you dating?
In my head, me and Devon Franklin are preparing our nuptials.
Okay.
We need somebody to tag him and or send his information to me, or me his no. No, currently I am single. I tried, like, at the end of the year, I was on all the apps.
Okay.
And I got a lot of hits. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna hold you up.
Yeah.
But I'm looking for a man of God.
That's good.
And in the words of one of the guys I was talking to, he was like, I am a man of God, as he was drunk as a skunk. And I'm like, no, he was
Wow.
like, everybody's going to have something. Like, you're going to have to compromise. I'm like, but there's just certain things I'm not going to compromise with.
Okay, say
So,
that.
um, yeah, I'm looking for,
Yeah,
of course,
describe
the
your
Brown Franklin, but
right.
until that, pans out and manifests, hallelujah. I'm still praying.
Still praying. So
Mhm.
can you describe, oh, well, speaking of, well, before I ask you that question, you can always tag Devon Franklin in this, podcast. Maybe he'll see it. Maybe somebody that's connected with Devon Franklin, maybe they will see it. So there's hope, girl. There's hope. Okay. So can you describe, besides Devon Franklin, we know that's your ideal mate, but if Devon Franklin happens to not be available, can you describe your ideal mate?
See, I'm complex.
Okay.
Here's the thing about me. Devon Franklin is not even my type physically. That's why I know his spirit is his heart.
Oh,
Um,
sorry. Okay,
I'm gonna
got
tell
it.
you, may he rest in peace. Not his mouth and his language and his persona, but
Okay.
physically, Bernie Mac all day,
Bernie
every day.
Mac.
Or maybe even a
Okay.
little bigger than him, like a little thicker.
Okay.
He could be a little fatter, a little, more muscular. I don't
More
know.
meat.
I just love his silhouette and his skin, that chocolate. Jesus. Woo! Yes, Lord God. God is good. God is real. Hallelujah. I still have
Amen.
not came to the realization that he's gone. Like, I can't even
Okay.
say the D word.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and I heard he was a pastor. I don't know about a pastor, but I heard he used to minister before he got into comedy.
I didn't
But
know that.
it's something about Bernie Mac, baby. But
Okay.
he's
So
not
for
Lord. Oh yeah, stop me, baby. Stop me, because I'm finna go
no,
all the way. I had
yeah.
a flashback.
Well, we're gonna go
Pray
to, we're
for me.
keeping it
Pray
classy,
for
we're
me.
keeping it holy, okay?
Hallelujah. You
So
right.
okay, so for those of you that are wondering, okay, why am I asking Jonah these dating questions, about dating? Well, I'm bringing this up because Jonah and I are going to go into another discussion. And what I believe, again, my truth, my thoughts, is that we as women, we have to be open, right? It doesn't mean that you accept whatever. I'm not saying that, but I do feel like sometimes in this society, we are in a point where it's like he has to be 6'4", he has to have a six pack, he has to make, $1 billion, like, and I'm not saying that these expectations are not real, because I'm a person of faith and I believe that God can do anything, right? I
Mhm.
truly wholeheartedly believe that. If it's meant for somebody to have a billionaire husband, and a six pack of abs, like things like that, I believe wholeheartedly that can happen. But I also do think that sometimes very good men can come across our path and we may shun them. They may be godly men, and we may tell them like, no, we're not. We may friend zone them. How about that? We may put them in the friend zone, And so, I think that instead of doing things like that, I think honestly we should really be open. I mean, it could even be something like, it doesn't necessarily have to be six packs. It could be preferences. Maybe, your ideal preference is a particular race. Maybe you want a particular race, but you meet a guy that's not that particular race and you push him to the side. And it's like, we have to really think like, what if this other race man, this man that is another race, what if that is a man that God is sending to us? It's just that he's packaged differently. So that's kind of my thoughts. So that's kind of where we're going tonight. So Jonah, what is your thoughts about preference versus preference versus what God has for us, or what a woman could actually, an ideal mate she can actually receive. Yeah. So what is your thoughts about that?
First off, I think we have to be careful that preferences do not become prejudices.
Okay.
And that means, like, if somebody offered me a white Mercedes, but I wanted a black one, but you finna give me a Mercedes for free, give me the keys, honey. I'm finna drive this all down the block, all up the road. We finna go to California, everywhere, back home. I'm son on,
Right.
you know. So we have to be careful that preferences do not turn into prejudices. Like you're saying, a staunch no if this person does not look like this.
Yeah.
Especially if those factors can be changed.
Right.
The second thing is we have to start unpacking why we have those preferences. I feel like a
Okay.
lot of people get comfortable and are like, well, this is just what I like. And
Yeah.
here's my question. If societal norms change tomorrow, would that still be your preference? Because I feel like sometimes we get married or we hook up based on the fact that we didn't have anybody to go to the prom with, or we want
Yeah.
our boys to pat us on our back, or we want our girls to say, that's your man. And a lot of times people get divorced, especially during that pandemic, when you had to be home with that person that you didn't really like,
Yeah.
because you don't like them. You have way more chemistry. I always say it's the difference between being attracted to someone and finding someone attractive. I can
Right.
find someone attractive. Shamar Moore is a perfect example. I think Shamar Moore is very attractive. I've just recently started saying, okay, I can see whatever. But
Right.
some people who have looked like gargoyles, look like they were on the buildings and they came alive at night.
Oh
And
wow.
because their spirit, I was like,
Yeah.
yes. Hey, how you doing? My name is John. Don't you want to love me and marry me? So I feel like we have to we have to get to a point where we're following the voice of God, the heart of God, because He will lead
Yeah.
you to your spouse. I
That's
feel
right.
like a lot of people say God doesn't pick a spouse, but that's not even biblical. The Bible stayed picking spouses. We're not gonna talk about Rebecca or Rachel or well, I'm not gonna say Rachel because that was Jacob's choice, but in the Bible, from what's his name? We're gonna get back to that. But God picked a
Okay.
lot of spouses. What's his name? David. David.
David.
And
Oh, okay.
I'm not going to even go there. That's another whole conversation. But I feel like we have to be careful that when God brings us somebody and they don't check off that list that we wanted, I heard a
Yeah.
pastor say you have to tear up that list. And
Hmm.
I'm getting to that point. I'm tearing up the list because, like I said, my ideal is Bernie Mac. I'm
Yeah.
in love, not in love, but with Devon Franklin. Um, I love him
Okay.
real hard. I love him.
Was it Bernie Mac or is it Devon Franklin? I mean, I
Well, you
know
know,
one of
Bernie,
them's not
he
a
was
big.
married
I
too.
know.
He was
I
married and
know. I know.
he did. I mean, don't want to get your life canceled. So,
Right. Exactly.
but, okay,
Right. Because they
but
be out here censoring people for real. Okay.
but I just feel like for me, I would prefer. I'm not gonna lie, a man who shares my culture. I would love a man who is a black guy.
Yeah.
And I want a man of God. I want a Christian,
Yeah.
and I want someone who loves me. Like, I don't want him to want a wife. I want him to want me. And I feel like that's going to be the thing that's going to make it difficult for me to find someone because I don't want to be able to be checked off a list. I want to be the list.
Hmm.
So when I find that person, I pray that God opens my eyes and my heart to receive them. I pray that he is attractive because I don't want to have to pray every morning that I wake up like, God, why am I with this person? And then, he asks, talk to me in my spirit. But I would love for for it to be a God thing. I want God to connect me to my husband, and I want him to be obedient. Yes, you have choices, baby. Yes, you have options out there. Yes, I'm not the end all be all, but I'm who God has for you. And there's
Yeah.
certain blessings that you will get because of me. Certain blessings you won't get because you didn't choose me. Yes, the Bible says that God will give favor to a man because he has a wife. Whoever finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain a favor of the
Favor
Lord.
from the Lord.
Let me tell
Yes.
you something. There's a wife favor and then there's a Jonah favor. Get to it. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay.
My brother, me and him are roommates. If anybody know how his life is going right now. Babe, I'm like the Ark of the Covenant. You always want me in your house.
Okay. Um, so, I going back, to what you were saying, I did want to caveat that Tiffany said hers is Chad Boseman. Oh, may he rest in peace. Um, but okay, so what would you tell a woman if she was like, okay, this guy checks everything off, like, but what if it wasn't his ideal race or her ideal race? I mean, how would you, or what if that was you? What if God said, okay, this is your husband, but it wasn't your ideal race, but he loved you, he treated you great, you know money was where it needed to be, he basically would give you the world, but it wasn't your ideal race. How would you handle that?
Now, which race are we talking
It doesn't matter. Okay, fine, I'll say it could be Hispanic, white, or Caucasian, or Asian. What if it was one of those three races?
Now, I didn't click Latasha's off. I'm not gonna lie. In high school, Asian was my number one choice. Like that was my number one. I wanted an Asian husband so bad. In college, I transitioned on to wanting black men. I never really got around to loving white men or wanting a white man, but because of where I am and you are kind of where I am as well, it's a lot of Hispanics. And
Yeah.
if you know anything about Hispanic men, my features are they love. A lot of Hispanics love these. Um, and they like bigger women, like
Hmm.
they, they like sturdy women. And so I get a lot of Hispanic men do pursue me. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of people are surprised when I say this, but where I am, a lot of black men also pursue me.
Hmm.
Um, even though there's not a lot of them here, but they pursue me heavily. Um, Asians, I'm still down for. White, I would have to pray about, but if it's a God thing, okay. And it's not because of my own even prejudices, but I'm not gonna lie, and I'm gonna have to pray about this. I'm being transparent right now.
Okay.
It's just a fear
Yeah.
if things go wrong. Like
Yeah.
he's at the top of the food chain. So if it comes down to my word against his, especially when the law is involved and my children's safety is involved, I'm not comfortable. But you did say if God gave him to me. So if
Yes.
God gave him to me, I shouldn't have to worry about any of that.
That's right.
So I
Yeah.
would pray. The other ones, the other races you talked about, okay, God, do your thing. But that last one, I'm not gonna lie. I would have to pray and make sure that this was the thing that God wanted for my life.
Hmm. No, I mean, I definitely understand that, and I like what you said early on. You said, let's unpack. Why does
Mhm.
a person feel a particular way about dating or not dating? A particular individual based upon their preference. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
it could even be someone. I want to go back to Latasha's question,
Mhm.
um, but it could be something like maybe somebody wants a millionaire or billionaire husband because maybe they grew up in poverty. So they want to make sure that that millionaire, billionaire husband is going to be there to provide funds. But I want to read Latasha's question. She said, it's okay to have preference and want your ideal mate to be a millionaire or billionaire. But what if God gives you an ideal mate with millionaire or billionaire potential? will you be the helpmate to bring? Will you be the helpmate in bringing that to pass?
Mhm.
Um, so that's a very heavy question, and I think that we are called. I think if God um, calls us to be, if God calls us to be a helpmate to a particular male, and um, he's not yet maybe a millionaire or a billionaire. I feel like if God has called us to them, then I don't think there's anything wrong with being, they don't have to be at that step, at least for me. Now, I can't speak for other women out here in these streets, but I will say for me, if I meet my husband and he's not yet a millionaire or billionaire, but he has that potential, he has goals, or he has business ideas that he's, working at,
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? And I'll be the helpmate. I'm like, come on, boo, we gonna do this. Like you tell me my assignment. Okay, I got your back. Jonah
Right.
taught me how to do branding and marketing. So we're gonna be branding and marketing your business on social media, handing out flyers. Like, boo, you just tell me where I need to be, and I will help you bring that billionaire business to come to pass. So I think that there's nothing. Again, this is my personal opinion. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I feel like we are called to be helpmates. But again, there are also women out here that their husband does have to make, or their ideal mate has to make, that type of six figures, or seven figure, eight, whatever, they have to be at that type of millionaire, billionaire status.
Mhm.
So I think it comes back to preference. I don't know, Jonah, what do you think about that question that Latasha said in the chat? That was a good question, by the way, Latasha.
Thank you so much, sis, for asking us that question. It's so much easier to love a rich man than it is a poor man. I can work with you. You don't have to be a millionaire. First of all, let me just circle back. You don't have to be a millionaire, like, but 100,000 there would really be nice. Especially at my age. I mean, just being truthful.
Yeah.
Life is hard enough, and then you add another person, and then we're at our big ages and we can't afford stuff. Like right now, I'm supposed to be transitioning from um, working to kind of striding along in my career, getting
Hmm.
ready to think about how things will be after, a certain time when I choose to retire.
Yeah.
And unless he's young, like if the Lord give me a little young man, that's this all goes out the window. Because that's one thing I don't discriminate against because older men are just as childish sometimes, if not more childish than young guys. A lot of these younger guys are more in tune with their emotions and are more willing to help women and to be a partner to a woman, like a real true partner. A lot of older guys, I'm not saying my age, I'm talking about older. Um, and I'm not talking about my age, I'm talking about younger. I found when I date younger, they're more willing to work with you and help you, and they hear you and they listen and they
Hmm.
motivate you and they don't mind being in your shadow. I feel like a lot of older men, they want you to use all your resources to help them elevate, but they want you to stay in their shadow. And that just won't work for me. But I do feel if a guy that I'm interested in does not have the financial resources that I will want, but he has the potential to make a certain amount of money, I will pray again. I will definitely pray. And if God says that's your husband, or at least let's see, let's let him hang himself, I would, you know, I would see. But as for me, I would prefer for my husband, like I said, not millionaire, billionaire per se, but I would love for him to be more financially established just because life is hard enough.
Yeah. No, I definitely understand what you mean. It definitely does help. Um, it definitely does help. Money does help. You know what I mean? For sure. So yeah, definitely. That was a good question. Um,
Drop some more
so
comment section. Okay, I'm sorry.
yes, does anybody want to ask any other, or have any other comments, or questions or something? Drop some more comments in the comment section, and we can talk about them and discuss them. Um, yeah. So I mean, I think like ultimately, for me personally, my thing is I'm open to have whoever God has for me. I'm open regardless of his race. For me, I'm open. Tiffany, okay, I want to give a shout out to Tiffany. You guys, Tiffany has a fiance, and she's saying her fiance is 32, so he's younger, a little younger, and Tiffany's 48. So, Tiffany, okay, sorry, I'm not laughing about that. Jonah made a comment she was talking to Tiffany. She knows Tiffany personally, so there's no shade or anything for anybody dating younger or anything like that. If that's what you choose to do, but I mean, I will say he needs to be legal, okay, out in these streets. All right, okay. We don't advocate for that here at 1849. So yeah. Anyway, so going back, so for me personally, I'm open to whoever God has for me. So, I mean, if he's of a different race, I'm okay with that. Finances, I feel like we can kind of negotiate, talk about that, so there are, different things when it comes to like finances and stuff like that, um, that, I'm willing to negotiate on things like that. So, if you have any other comments or anything that you want to drop in the chat, please definitely go ahead and do so. So that way we can address them. I think we might be having slight bit of technical difficulties, but that's okay. So if you have any questions, comments, or anything you want to drop in the chat, please do so. Okay. So I want to thank you guys. While I'm waiting for that, if anybody has any questions, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I know we kind of we had about 3 different segments on this 1849 podcast. We're trying out something new with this new year. I want to thank you all for tuning in tonight. You can follow me at 1849.live. Um, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'm also on TikTok as well, So, you are more than welcome to follow me. It looks like we have a question in the chat from Tiffany. She said, what if the guy wanted you to move and he was the one? I think, let's see, what if the guy wanted you to move and he is the one? So I think when it comes to like moving, especially when it comes to out of state, and first let me say this too, I'm not a relationship expert or anything like that. I don't want to pretend to be, or, you know, I'm not a relationship guru or expert or anything like that. But I think when it comes to somebody maybe moving out of the state, city, or things like that, um, ultimately, I would say pray about it. If you feel like God is saying that this is your person and you feel led to move, what I would say is you have to do what you feel like God is telling you to do. Um, Me personally, I mean, I have my own personal thoughts about that. I mean, I'll go ahead and be transparent. Me personally, I feel like if a guy really wants to be with a girl, I would think that he should come to the girl, he should move to her. But again, that's my personal opinion on that. I know everybody may differ about that. I don't advocate for a woman to move, but again, that's my personal preference. That's my thought on that. But again, ultimately, God trumps in everything. So if God is telling a particular woman to move to a certain location to be with the guy that is the one, then that's between her and God. And all I would tell her to do is make sure she prays about that and make sure that is what God is telling her to do. So, Tiffany, I hope that answered your question. um, Ultimately, it has to go back to God. If God is telling a woman to move or a man to move to another location, that has to be a God thing. I will say this, I know everybody has their own opinion. I do not advocate, because I'm assuming maybe Tiffany was talking about moving cities or something like that. Um, Moving cities, I think, is again, that has to be pointed up to God. I will say, when it comes to shacking up and living together, I don't advocate for that. I know a lot of people have done that, and I'll be transparent. I've done that in my past, but where I'm at in my walk with God now, I would not do that again. Um, so I also want to put that out there as well, that I do not advocate for living together before marriage. And I know people will say, oh, well, the Bible doesn't specifically say, but I feel like, again, that could be, loopholes or things like that, that people might be trying to, um, they're trying to go through. But again, I do not advocate to live together before marriage. So um, that's, what I will say. No living together for marriage before marriage. Now, obviously, when you're married, like, you know, you're married. So, I mean, you would expect people to live together if they're married. Um, so, so yeah. Does anybody else have any other questions, or things that they want to talk about? Tiffany, I hope that answered your question again, um, about moving. Again, I would say make sure it is a God thing. Make sure that's something that God is saying to do. Um, don't just, you know, up and uproot yourself if God hasn't done it. Because, you know, that could also happen too, where, you know, sometimes we as people, we make decisions and we expect God to bless it. And that's not what we should be doing either. So, yeah. So I just want to, advocate that. We're trying to get Jonah back on, having some more technical difficulties. So we're trying to get Jonah back on here. I'm having some little difficulties as well. But if you have any more comments, questions, or anything, please drop it in the chat. Um, are you guys enjoying the show? I mean, from this far, have you guys had, any favorite segments so far? Is there anything, that you guys would like to see maybe going forward? Is there maybe something that you like, something that you didn't like? Tiffany said, yes, it's awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Does anybody have, what did you think about the trending topics? Did anybody have any, thoughts about the trending topics? Oh, thank you, Latasha. Thank you for tuning in. And I hope this, podcast has definitely, been a true encouragement, a true inspiration. I know, we kind of did something different because normally on our normal 1849 podcast, we have the guests come on, we do the trending topics, and then we just kind of, end it from there. But, being in the new year, going into the new year, we definitely wanted to try something else. We wanted to add in the, unlocking relationship hour, the unlocking relationships. So we did, want to include that. So that is something new. So if you, I'm kind of curious to see, did you guys like the unlocking, relationships? I guess let me know in the comments. Drop your comments or comment below if you enjoyed that segment. Relationships. I guess let me know in the comments. Drop your comments or comment below if you enjoyed that segment. Relationships. Yay, Jonah, you're back.
Yes,
Thank you. I know we had some technical difficulties. Um,
the devil.
so thank you. Tiffany said she definitely loved, the relationship. Latasha said that she, liked the relationship hour as well. So I definitely, thank you guys for your feedback. Like I mentioned, if you all are a part of, a faith based, or you have an inspirational story, or would love to be a guest in on the show, the Unlocking Freedom podcast, definitely, send us a, fill out the contact card on the 1849.live or live, however you want to say it. Put it on our website, 1849. And definitely, we would love to have new guests on the show, and just try out new things like with this new season. Jonah, did you have anything else you wanted to add? I'm glad you're back, girl.
Thank you for having me come on screen tonight. The devil is busy, but we bind up in Jesus' name.
Okay.
Thank you for everybody who tuned in. I hope to see you again in 2 weeks. And if you have a story, if you have a ministry, or you have an organization that is faith based, please email us or go to our website, 1849.live,
Yeah.
and just drop us a few lines and we can get in contact and we can bring you on screen next time. So I
Yeah.
truly enjoyed tonight. And so now that's my little brother, John Hall. That's my baby. But
Thank you, John, too, for joining us. Jonah, is there, anywhere maybe, I know you have a lot, like you're juggling a lot of different hats. Is there anywhere where, maybe the audience can follow you, locate you, if you have any upcoming projects, what projects do you have? How can we get in contact with you? I mean, like I said, I know you have like a lot of different hats that you're juggling.
Go to iamjonanannette.com. I'm getting back into the branding and marketing. I have some things that's coming up, as you guys know, um, mid-year, some classes or some things I'm taking, and I'm gonna shake things up a little bit. I really want to go full force into marketing and just take it to another level. I love being behind the scenes. I love producing. I love, being Devon Franklin's fiance. And I just pray that as this new season with me and him, it goes higher and we go forward, that we're able to minister together and change the world for Christ.
Hmm. Okay. Well, yeah. So we'll be sure to lift that up in prayer on your behalf.
Amen.
So yeah, thank you guys. Also, thank you, Jonah, for coming on. Thank you, Tiffany, as well, for coming on as well. I appreciate it. Thank you for all of those that tuned in. Thank you, Latasha. I hope this has been a joy. I hope you had some laughs, some entertainment. I hope the message also encouraged you. Thank you guys so much again. 1849. You can find me at 1849.live. I hope you all have a blessed and wonderful evening, and God bless you guys.
Bye. Come back
Bye.
another year. God bless you.